faithfully delivering value, interpreting the world's great books. Hello, this is Sally's Book Talk. Today we'll be exploring the book Dead Men Do Tell Tales. For most people, the word corpse sounds terrifying.
Yet there are people whose jobs require daily close contact with corpses.
These are forensic pathologists. In shows like CSI, Forensic Files, and Dr. Kin, Medical Examiner, they're portrayed as confident, composed professionals who uncover clues from any body. But are these TV portrayals accurate? What are real forensic pathologists like? How do they work day to day? After today's exploration of Dead Men Do Tell Tales, you'll have answers. In reality, forensic pathologists are technical specialists in judicial identification. They include full-time forensic experts in judicial agencies, university professors, and doctors at private institutes. Using medical and forensic techniques, they examine homicide scenes, analyze victims' bodies, and determine cause, time, and nature of death. They identify weapons, analyze criminal methods, and assess victims' injuries and mental states. They conduct lab tests on evidence to assist judicial investigations.
Forensic anthropology is one specialized branch.
These experts focus on skeletal remains, identifying individuals, and reconstructing their lives. They're arguably the most keen-eyed detectives in forensics. The author, William Maples, chaired the American Board of Forensic Anthropology. Over 28 years, he handled over 2,000 cases. Dead Men Do Tell Tales blends professional insight with literary quality. Upon U.S. release, it earned praise from media like the New York Times. Many readers developed forensic interests through this book. University professors now assign it as required reading in forensic programs. We'll explore Dr. Maples' methods for examining bodies and solving decomposition, dismemberment, and burning challenges, and then listen to him recount stories of witnessing the remains of historically famous figures. Before we officially begin the interpretation, I must give a heads up here. We will inevitably mention numerous crime scenes and corpses, which might cause you discomfort or even fear. So, before you're mentally prepared, please don't continue listening for now. All right, let's start the main content. Forensic experts need to face all kinds of corpses. If they're dealing with a fresh, intact corpse, then with today's advanced science and IT, determining the cause of death or finding the deceased's info isn't too hard. Unfortunately, this ideal scenario isn't common. Corpses are often found some time after death. Especially in criminal cases, perpetrators usually try to hide the body to make it tougher for the police to solve the case. I realize, at this point, forensic experts face the first challenge. Decomposition is the process where organic matter breaks down after death. After death, the first thing is autolysis, where the body digests itself. Digestive juices freed from bodily constraints start corroding stomach walls, esophagus, mucosa, etc. Various organs that were once carefully tended now seem like a small revolution happening in the digestive tract.
Slaves rise up, become masters, and prepare to wreak havoc.
These digestive juices recklessly corrode human tissues, destroying their original structures and breaking down large protein molecules into smaller states. And this is what the bacteria living in the human body love. There are many bacteria both inside and outside. After death, they rapidly multiply, gradually decomposing body tissues into foul-smelling pus. During this, bacteria also produce lots of gas. The body swells with gas, and within 12 to 18 hours, it can double or triple in size, like a balloon about to burst, forcing out organs like eyes and tongue. At this stage, the body's appearance is undeniably terrifying, as the skin of a decomposing corpse first turns green, then black. Taking fingerprints now is much trickier than usual, because the skin on the corpse's hand peels off in large pieces with just a light tug. Forensic experts insert their hands into the corpse's sloughed-off skin, like wearing a glove, then ink the fingertips and carefully press the fingerprints onto paper. This method sounds bizarre, yet it's simple and effective. As decomposition progresses, tissues and organs dissolve into unrecognizable semi-liquid masses that gradually break down. Hair and nails fall out, leaving only bones. So how long does full decomposition take? It depends on the environment. Bodies in Siberian permafrost may remain intact for millennia, while warm, humid conditions accelerate decay to skeletal remains in just years. An even more extreme case. A 12-year-old Mississippi girl disappeared after a hurricane. It was summer, and high temperatures sped up decomposition. When found 10 days later, her flesh had nearly rotted away, with only minimal cartilage clinging to her small frame.
Forensic experts may encounter bodies at any decomposition stage. Yet even skeletal remains demand truth-seeking efforts.
The author demonstrates this through a 1979 case detailed in his book. And now, the victim was a soldier discharged for assaulting his drill instructor. He later attended a birthday party where the celebrant carried a .357 Magnum, a girlfriend's gift.
The handsome firearm likely triggered the victim's envy, prompting loud complaints about lacking such a weapon.
The birthday boy laughingly handed it over, but the victim grabbed the gun and bolted outside.
Perhaps alcohol clouded, attendees buried the body instead of calling police. Their motives remain unknown. The victim's disappearance prompted family to alert authorities. Thus, the scheme quickly unraveled. Bizarrely, these intoxicated men repeatedly led police to burial sites, always empty. Now the birthday boy faced murder charges. After over a year, the body was finally found in November 1980, predictably badly decomposed. Undeterred, the author confidently pursued the cause of death as the body reached his lab. The author first had to identify which body part each decomposed fragment belonged to. After arranging them in lifelike positions, he discovered the victim's skull was missing, shattered into about 80 fragments. This was caused by the tremendous impact of the Magnum bullet. Though the scalp held the fragments together shortly after death, after over a year of decay, the bones had scattered completely. Like assembling a puzzle, the author and his assistants pieced every skull fragment back together, reconstructing its final living form. The reconstructed skull showed a clear exit wound, proving the bullet entered near the right temple at close range, only possible with direct contact. The brief time between them running out and the gunshot ruled out the birthday boy wrestling the gun away, confirming suicide and exonerating him. If forensic experts only faced decomposition, that'd be relatively simple. Trickier are cunning criminals who dismember bodies before hiding them. They aim to prevent victim identification, the second major challenge forensic experts often face. In the 70s and 80s, when the author worked, DNA matching technology wasn't like today's. Extracting clues from fragmented remains was daunting, but dismembering a body without leaving evidence was impossible. Whether using knives, axes, or saws, tools leave distinct marks on severed tissue. Different tools create unique cut shapes and coloration.
Experienced forensic experts can identify the tool, type, even model by examining cuts. Metal blades also leave paint, shavings, or oil on tissue.
Analyzing these traces significantly narrows the investigative scope for police. When dismembering a body, cutting at the joints is far easier than sawing through bones directly. Surprisingly few killers meticulously disarticulate joints. Most just saw through the femur when separating thighs. That femur fragment is crucial for forensic experts. Because the femoral cortex is thick, cutting tools leave distinct marks on it. Then, while bones rarely show such clear traces, in a 1981 dismemberment case the author investigated, cut marks on a partial femur provided breakthrough clues. Police responded when a landlord vanished during red collection. At the scene, an officer tripped over what seemed like a stick protruding from soil. Closer inspection revealed it was a broken femur with desiccated flesh attached. Excavation uncovered a body with severed thighs and a sculpted skull.
Police arrested Tenant Tim Borges, who claimed self-defense but denied killing or dismemberment.
The burden of truth fell to forensic experts. Examining both femurs revealed knife and axe marks on one, and only axe cuts on the other. Evidence indicated the killer first used a knife to cut away flesh. He then tried severing bone with the knife, poorly suited for hard objects. So he grabbed an axe, completing the dismemberment efficiently. After practicing on one leg, he swung the axe to sever the other. Later, police found a folding hunting knife at Borges' home. Tool mark analysis matched it perfectly to the femur cuts. When the author demonstrated in court, gripping the knife's end for maximum leverage to cut bone, Borges immediately pled guilty. The recreation felt unbearably real to him. Beyond decomposition and dismemberment, forensic experts face a third challenge: burned bodies. Burning is highly effective for those seeking to destroy evidence. Ignited skin carbonizes rapidly, oxidizing until consumed. Bones turn deep yellow, then black under prolonged heat. Finally, given sufficient time, when organic residues burn away completely, the bones turn white. During cremation, thinner bones develop crisscrossing cracks like a go board before shattering into small squares. Thicker bones fracture differently. For example, the femur mentioned earlier bursts into tiny crescent-shaped fragments when burned. This allows forensic experts to determine which body part a thicker bone belongs to. Such reconstructions test forensic patience to the extreme, as vividly demonstrated in a 1985 suicide case. On January 28, 1985, Gainesville police found two charred bodies in a fully burned cabin. Their car parked nearby contained neatly folded clothes and a suicide note. The note identified them as Gladnick and Paige Jennings, lovers driven to suicide by her family's fierce opposition. The scene showed no anomalies. Everything seemed logical. Yet police felt uneasy. The 8-page note was unusually verbose, an excessively lengthy document for someone facing death. Moreover, Nick alone had written and signed it. Jennings' absence from the signature was abnormal for joint suicides. Police suspected the suicide pact was mixed fabrication, that he killed Jennings and faked his own death. But suspicion needed proof. Only the bones interpreted by the author's team could reveal the truth. The victim's bones had shattered into over 10,000 fragments during the fire. Local police had collected the remains mixed with dirt and debris into one large bag. This artificially compounded the difficulty. To reconstruct, the author enlisted University of Florida archaeologists who sifted fragments through fine mesh, sorted by color and texture, then reassembled them. First, distinctive bones, like Jennings' surgically altered shin bone and Mick's gold-filled teeth, confirmed their identities, ruling out staged evidence. Then, on Jennings' reconstructed skull, they found multiple pre-mortem blunt force trauma wounds. Clearly, before cremation, Jennings had been bludgeoned repeatedly with stones. With no signs of outside entry, evidence confirmed Mick beat Jennings to death. Though Mick died by suicide, he now faces eternity branded a murderer. For this case, the author's team spent 18 months reconstructing over 10,000 charred bone fragments. Years later, the author still considered this his most baffling and complex case. Without this monumental effort, the victims' families might never have found closure. You see, no matter how damaged the body, forensic experts make it speak. Truly admirable. Yet the author believed forensics could contribute even more. Not just identifying modern killers, but making historical figures reveal buried truths. The author recounts two first-hand experiences. The first features Zachary Taylor, the 12th U.S. president. Historical chronologies show President Taylor attended a July 4, 1850 celebration.
Returning home hot and thirsty, he devoured vegetables, fruit, and icy milk.
Soon after, severe diarrhea struck and rapidly worsened. Just 5 days later, President Taylor died, only 16 months into his term. Taylor's death came at America's critical juncture, with Northern industrialists and Southern planters clashing over slavery. After Taylor's sudden passing, tensions between factions intensified. Taylor wielded Southern influence as a decorated general who fiercely opposed secession. Many believe that if Taylor had completed his term, the Civil War, with over 1 million casualties, could have been avoided. But he died suddenly at this critical moment, giving conspiracy theorists plenty of room to speculate. Since the 20th century, theories that President Taylor was poisoned by opponents have spread everywhere, even in books using it as a selling point. To quell rumors and uncover the truth, the author took on a commission from Taylor's descendants and enthusiasts to test his remains for toxins. This examination mainly aimed to detect arsenic in the body, because in Taylor's time, arsenic compounds were often used as poison. In China, this poison is better known as pishuang. Acute arsenic poisoning usually causes vomiting, abdominal cramps, diarrhea, and extreme weakness, symptoms very similar to Taylor's before he died. If a victim survives over 28 hours after poisoning, arsenic compounds build up in their hair and bones.
Even years later, it can still be detected, making exhumations of historical figures highly sensational.
When news got out, media flooded in. Under the whole country's watch, the author and assistants opened the tomb, pulled out the coffin, and carefully lifted the lid. The author examined the teeth, clipped nails from each fingertip, took hair and a small piece of sternum, plus some cloth soaked in body fluids. If Taylor was poisoned with arsenic, traces would surely be found in those places. Lab tests showed arsenic levels in all samples were extremely low, not deadly, not even enough to cause symptoms.
Records show Taylor lived 5 days after falling ill.
If he had been poisoned, arsenic would have had plenty of time to enter his system. Current lab results show he wasn't poisoned. Therefore, the author concluded President Taylor died of natural causes. Based on the author's inference, Taylor likely ate contaminated vegetables. The July heatwave also boosted E. coli growth, leading to severe infection and death. While President Taylor's cause of death concerned his family, descendants, and some speculative American media, the next story's impact was undoubtedly broader. Its protagonist was Russia's last Tsar, Nicholas II. This final emperor of the Russian Empire met his end on July 16, 1918. Records state he was shot alongside the Empress, Tsarevich, 4 Grand Duchesses, a physician, cook, and 2 servants. Afterward, numerous people claimed to be the Tsar's children. Most famously, a woman named Anna Anderson declared herself Anastasia, the youngest daughter. She claimed to have fainted, been rescued by sympathetic soldiers, then fled abroad. She allegedly knew intimate Romanov court details, baffling surviving Russian nobles. Anna traveled Europe and America as the lost princess, even suing for inheritance rights. Though courts rejected her claims for insufficient evidence, she profited immensely. Hollywood even made an Oscar-winning film about her, called Anastasia. In 1989, a Soviet geologist claimed to find 9 skeletons near Yekaterinburg, the Romanovs' last residence. He believed them to be the imperial family's remains. With fewer skeletons than recorded executions, rumors of surviving royals reignited. Proving these remains were Nicholas II's family would debunk all Romanov survivor claims. The author and his team were invited to investigate. The 9 skeletons included 4 males and 5 females. 3 female skeletons showed newly matured features. All skulls were severely shattered, complicating facial reconstruction. And, without identifying features, they numbered the bones for systematic examination. Skeleton number 1 was an adult female. The author noticed ankle bone growth, indicating prolonged kneeling or crouching. The author believes the skeleton is the queen's maid, Demidova, who frequently scrubbed floors or did chores, leaving marks on her bones. The second skeleton belongs to an adult male, with a bullet wound entering from the upper left forehead and exiting the right temple. The author believes this matches the account by executioner Yermakov, who recalled Dr. Botkin turning his head halfway when shot, consistent with the wound. Skeletons 3, 5, and 6 are young females, based on tooth roots, growth, pelvic development, and height. The author infers they belong to princesses Olga, Maria, and Tatiana. Skeleton 4 is believed to be Nicholas II himself, a middle-aged man, short, with prominent brow ridges and a flat palate, matching the Tsar's description. The wide bones show typical wear from long-term horseback riding, and Nicholas II was an avid rider. Skeleton 7 belongs to an elderly woman, severely damaged by bayonets. However, when forensic experts photographed the skull, the crown on the gum emitted a dazzling light under the flash. Upon close examination, the shiny crown was valuable, made of platinum with gold filling. Undoubtedly, This is Empress Alexandra, who visited the dentist often. The executioners looted her jewelry and shattered her face, but didn't take her teeth. The expensive crown, decades later, eloquently confirmed the empress's identity. Skeletons 8 and 9 matched the expected age and features of footman Trupp and cook Karatonov. Everything matched historical records, except for the absence of 14-year-old Prince Alexei and 17-year-old Princess Anastasia. The executioner's report to the government mentioned the execution 3 days later. To prevent the Tsar's bodies from falling into enemy hands, they returned to dispose of the corpses.
With the enemy approaching and time short, they only burned 2 bodies and poured sulfuric acid on the others.
Of these 2 bodies, one was the prince's, the other a female. They first thought it was the empress, then the maid Demidova, giving those who believed the princess survived a last shred of hope. How could the executioners confuse a 17-year-old girl's body with a middle-aged woman's?
Such questions couldn't stump the author.
He noted the Romanovs were killed in July 1918. 3 summer days of decomposition bloated and distorted the bodies beyond recognition. His analysis gave investigators confidence. And since these 9 skeletons matched execution records, finding the remaining 2 seemed certain. Indeed, Prince Alexei and Princess Anastasia's remains were soon unearthed nearby, both showing burn marks. DNA comparisons confirmed their identities. Russia accepted the findings, re-entered the imperial family, and closed this historical mystery. These stories represent just ordinary moments in the author's daily work. When asked why he dedicates such passion to confronting decay, the author says, "Every skeleton has a story to tell us, even years after death, capturing their silent cries. For them and the living is my duty as a forensic anthropologist." All right, that concludes our exploration of Dead Men Do Tell Tales. Reading notes are below. We'll meet again next time.